and we start. We begin. And I want to thank New Hampshire for the warm welcome outside. There are literally thousands of people. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're all, and no negatives, all positives. And it's really beautiful. And it's a great welcome, and I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state that we all love, and so near and dear to my heart. I want to take a moment to salute your incredible outgoing chairman. Steve, what a job you've done. You've really done a great job. Steve, stepping up. 2 terms, outstanding service to the New Hampshire GOP. And Steve, just congratulations on a job well done. You work so hard. He loves the state. He loves the people of the state. And we all love you, Steve, and that's why I'm going to be making an announcement about Steve. Should I do it or should I just leave it? I'm I'm really excited to do this because I know so many people, and so many people would like to do it, but Steve is going to be stepping down, and he'll be coming on board as the senior advisor for my New Hampshire campaign. And he's going to help us to ensure that we have a win in the Granite State. In 2024, we stopped the communists, we stopped the Marxists. If we don't stop them this time, I think that's going to be the end. I really do. I believe that. But I know better than anybody what a special role the state has, the people have, and really it's a place for American presidents. And one of the things I told him, Steve, you can help with the campaign a little bit, but what I really want is help on that final day of voting. You know, it used to be a day, right, with paper ballots. Now it's, in some cases, 64 days. How about that? We have 64 days to vote, and we have all machines. We have no paper. We have no nothing. And lots of surprises. I said, I really want the biggest help to be on election day or election period. Think of that. We have to call it an election period. Someday we'll be back to paper ballots. We'll be back to voter ID. We'll be back to doing it the way it's supposed to be, one-day voting. But you see what's going on with the Democrats. They're taking lots of things away. And believe me, there are so many people looking to do harm to, and for generally no reason. You have an incredible tradition, and we're going to keep that tradition, and we guarantee it. And I said it last time, and I said it the time before, and I've lived up to that promise just as I have many other promises. So you have it. You're first, and you're going to remain first, okay? But if you look, just to try and compare it, look on the other hand, lost the New Hampshire primary. Joe Biden lost it badly, and it was a very tough time. He had a humiliating 5th place defeat, and now he's taking a revenge on the voters of your state by cruelly and disgracefully trashing this beloved political tradition. It's a great tradition, and I hope you're going to remember that during the general election. Don't worry about it now, just general election. You're going to remember that he took it away. He's going someplace else. You know about that. Now, maybe that'll be stopped legally or through the courts. I don't know, but he wants to take it away from New Hampshire. I stand before you today and make this solemn pledge. When I'm back in the White House, I will ensure that New Hampshire remains the home of the first-in-nation Republican primary for many, many years to come. And I think maybe more than anything else, I've proven that I keep my promises. I've proven it more than just about any president, they say. But it's a true privilege to have this opportunity to speak with you on my very first trip back to New Hampshire. This is about the beginning, you know. This is it. We're starting right here as a candidate for president. And you've probably seen the polls. We're really doing great. You know, remember, I used to, in 2016, I talked about polls all the time. In 2020, I didn't have to because we didn't have a lot of competition. We had no competition. And I don't think we have competition this time either, to be honest. But I talked about the polls. And I will say that our polls, we are so far ahead in the polls, both in New Hampshire. One came out this morning, a very nice poll, we're way ahead. And one came out yesterday, a nationwide poll. And we're 35 points up, 39 points up. That's a lot. Guys like Adam Shifty Schiff, AOC plus 3. The 3 love it when I say that, you know. They love that. They love hearing AOC plus 3. Oh, I'm one of the 3, but they're bad. Crazy Nancy Pelosi and crying Chuck Schumer. and the group, they're running our country right into the ground. They're destroying our country. To save America, we need a leader who's prepared to take on the forces laying waste to our country. And we need a president who is ready to hit the ground running on day one. And boy, am I hitting the ground. You know, I said, the fake news, we have a lot of news today. Some of it's fake, but some of actually are very good. Some I'm very impressed with. But they said, when I announced, I just wanted to put my cards on the table. We're playing that very big game right now, the biggest game of all, because it involves the country and the survival of the United States of America. But when I put the cards on, and then I said, all right, let's go. They said, he's not campaigning. This is like about a month ago when I announced, well, I said, I got 2 years. They said, he's not doing rallies. He's not campaigning. Maybe he's lost that step. I'm more angry now, and I'm more committed now than I ever was. Because I read a story where they talked about why isn't he out there? It was like on a Friday night, and then I actually did something that night, little low-key stuff, and there is lots of work. We have great people with us, amazing people that I've met and really gotten to know, because as a non-politician, I didn't know anybody. I went to Washington. I tell the story of driving down Pennsylvania Avenue with our great First Lady, and I'm looking over and I'm saying, I saw the hotel that I built. It was very, very successful in Pennsylvania, and we had more police and more. I never saw anything like it. We're going down Pennsylvania, crowds are cheering and just going absolutely crazy. Motorcycles all over the place, hundreds of motorcycles. It's so beautiful, beautiful weather, beautiful everything. I looked at our First Lady. I said, do you believe it? I'm the President of the United States. And I was never a big Washington person. It wasn't my world. I was a New York person. So I didn't know the people in Washington like a politician would, who spent 25 years and then ran for president. So I had to learn, and I had to learn quick. And I've learned over 4 years. I know the great ones, and I know the not good ones. I know the rhinos that aren't going to get it done, and I know people that are going to really get it done. I had to rely on, in many cases, some rhinos that we didn't even know if they were rhinos or not. But, they're more dangerous in many ways than the Democrats, I tell you. They're more dangerous. We had built hundreds of miles of wall, all of the things that we did to make it so good. Stay in Mexico. Nobody even heard of it. Stay in Mexico. Mexico said to us, well, we're not going to do it. I said, yes, you are. You are. I said, no. You're going to do it 100%. Then a representative came down, and I dealt with somebody, a very nice woman for the State Department. She worked with Mexico, on Mexico for 25 years. Very nice. She said, sir, you can't get these things. Stay in Mexico. They'll never agree to that. They'll never agree to any of this stuff. I also said, I want 28,000 soldiers from Mexico guarding our borders. Will you pay for it? No, we're not paying anything. And so she smiled, and not as a bad person, she smiled. She thought it was an immature ask. I said, no, we'll get it. 100 to 1. I mean, I will tell you, it's not even a chance that we won't. They said, sure, okay. Then the representative from Mexico came into the room. I'll never forget. Nice guy, too, quality guy. And I really like, even though he's a socialist, I really like the president of Mexico. We have a very good friend. In fact, it took him a long time to call up President Biden. It took him a long time. He couldn't, there were many leaders of countries that just couldn't do it. They didn't believe it, actually. Even though we were very tough on many countries. We were tougher on Russia than anybody would have been. As you know, that would have never happened. The horror show that's going on right now would have never happened. But many, many countries felt that way. They just, didn't believe the result. But I said, here's what we need. We need 28,000 soldiers, and we want everybody staying in Mexico, never coming into the United States until we have them approved. So he said, no. And I said, here's what's happening. If you don't approve it, then we're going to put a tariff on all of the cars that you stole from our country to make in Mexico of 25%, and every product that's made in Mexico is going to have a tariff of 25% on it, which would amount to tens of billions of dollars for the United States. So the same gentleman, and he's a nice guy, he said, I can't believe you do that. I said, no, 100%. Here's the document right now. I'll sign it. It's a Friday. And this goes, in effect, This goes on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I had the document right here, showed him the document. He was a little surprised. He said, may I take 5 minutes and make a call? I wonder who he called. Called the president and came back. Sir, we'd be honored to give you 28,000 soldiers, and we would be honored to keep everybody in Mexico, even the MS-13 gang members and everything, until such time as they have to. And we had it going so good. And then think of it, they come in, they said, come into the United States. They stopped the wall construction. We had built hundreds of miles of wall, but they stopped the construction. 3 weeks, it could have been the addition, because we added a lot more than we originally said we were going to do. We had to wait 2.5 years because the Democrats sued us. We had 11 different lawsuits. We won all of the lawsuits. I actually got a lot of the money. I took it out of the military because I consider it to be defense of our country. What's coming in it's an onslaught, what's coming in. And we did all of those things, and then they come in, and what they've done to this country is incredible. Even staying out for medical reasons, you know all about that. Stay out for medical reasons. I mean, people are very ill, and they're coming into our country. Now they're emptying out, as you know, their prisons, and they're emptying out their mental institutions. Every day I think of the United States in a way. This never happened. This literally, I thought of this yesterday. And I said, I'm coming up to a place that gets it. And maybe I should say it. And I went to what do you think? I went to a couple of people that have been with me a long time. It's sort of strange. But I think of the United States. Every day is April Fool's Day. And they said, sir, what do you mean by that? I don't like the sound of that. I said, listen to this. And I just gave a couple of ideas. We have open borders when they should be closed. It's April Fool's Day. We have prisoners, people from, as we just said, mental institutions and terrorists being dumped into our country when they should not be accepted. April Fool's Day, right? Who would do that? Who would do this? Who would allow prisoners in? He goes, Biden. He said, Brandon. You're both right. We have no voter ID when everyone wants voter ID. Even at the Democrat National Convention, they had a card on the front of them that was like bigger than their chest, with the exception of some people. They had a card. It had everything, pictures, everything. But not for the United States votes, right? So think of it. No voter ID when everyone wants it. Even the Democrats, they did a poll. 88% of Democrats want voter ID. They don't want it because they want to cheat. That's what they're best at. We have a woke military that can't fight or win, as proven in Afghanistan. And we rebuilt the entire military, but we lost, unfortunately, $85 billion of it to Afghanistan, where we stupidly gave $85 billion to these people. And we had them in check. We had them totally in check. Abdul, the head of the Taliban. Why are you speaking to him, sir? Who else do I want to speak to? Who else am I supposed to speak to? We want to end it. And I told Abdul, I said, Abdul, you're killing a lot of our people. They did a lot during the Obama administration. The snipers, they were killing our soldiers left and right, a lot of them. And the roadside bombs, you all know, because it's a very military state, very state focused on the military. I said, Abdul, you're killing a lot of people. Here's the story. If you do this anymore, we're going to hit you harder than anybody has ever been hit by this country. And that's pretty hard. We're going to hit you so hard, left and right, up and down. You're going to regret it. You have to stop. There's no more. No more. This is over a telephone conversation. Can you believe it? And yes, Your Excellency, I do understand. He called me Your Excellency. So think of it. No voter ID when everyone wants it. Even the Democrats, they did a poll. 88% of Democrats want voter ID. And it's never happened before. How sad is it? And that's what's happening to our country. We're going Marxist. We have skipped socialism. That train has already left. But we have men being encouraged to compete against women in sports. Okay? Now think of it. You know the story I tell about the swimmer, where this great champion swimmer wants to win this race. She's worked so hard all her life, and she's looking up and down she's seen the same girls and women that she's fought and swam against, and then she looks to the right, same thing, but there's this giant standing right next to her. And he He hurt her very badly because he went by her so fast that she suffered massive windburn during the race. The whole thing. I think he beat her by, 36 seconds, right? If you win by, she wanted to win, she could win by an eighth of a second, she's going to win. She's worked all her life for this, all her life. She's going to win by an eighth of a second, she's going to set the U.S. record. She's a great athlete. He beat the record by 38 seconds. That's not right. That's not right. We have Antifa and BLM who hate our country and burn down our cities, and they're protected by law enforcement while we put great American patriots in jail and destroy their lives, right? It's an unbelievable situation. We're begging foreign nations for oil when we have far more oil than they have. I call it liquid gold. It's under our feet. We decide to stop drilling oil as it hits an all-time high. It hits the all-time high, highest ever. We're going to stop drilling. Think of it. It's supposed to be the opposite. See, this is, again, it's April Fool's Day. Who would do that? And then on top of it, we sell China millions and millions of barrels of cheap oil. We're selling it to China. We demand windmills be built on our oceans. We demand they go in our prairies and our mountains and our plains, only to realize that they're killing all our birds, and at a level that, if you go out hunting and you happen to shoot a bald eagle, they put you in jail like for 5 years, right? They kill thousands of them with these windmills. Nothing happens. It's the most expensive and least reliable form of energy on our planet, extremely expensive. And the wind turbines are all made in China. Some are made in Germany, but most are made in China. We have a president whose son's laptop from hell gets taken over and exposes massive corruption like nobody's ever seen before. You think the father, do you ever hear this? Do you think the father was upset? Dad, I left my laptop in a repair shop, forgot to pick it up, and this repair guy went a little crazy when he saw what was on it. What's on it, son? Every crime that you've ever committed, Pa. At what point does the father get angry? Like, this kid is not working out well for me. Recent weeks, I've begun to introduce our bold, ambitious agenda to control and confront the colossal disasters that Joe Biden is leaving in his wake, what he's done to this country, the damage. I say all the time in the rallies, which is starting very soon, even though it's still very early. They're forcing me into the rallies, Why isn't he doing rallies 2 years early, But we're going to do them soon. I think we should do a big one up here, Steve, okay? Let's do a big one. They love our rallies. They're bigger than they've ever been, too. And the reason, it's bigger, it's hotter, there's more enthusiasm now. I'm in Florida, and I'm driving over to a big meeting, a destination. We go different ways sometimes. And they're driving over, and we're passing signs. And every lawn has Trump 2024, Trump, the spirit. And the spirit is because they knew what they had, and now they look at what's happening to our country. So the spirit's even greater. Within hours of my inauguration, we will restore every border security measure of the Trump presidency. We had it so good. To quickly achieve the most secure border in U.S. history again, just as we had 2 years ago. And I'll ask Congress to establish criminal penalties for any future administration that releases millions and millions of people that you don't want in our country. And I don't say that as a bad person. I have a bigger heart than anybody. But we don't want their prisoners, and we don't want people that are living in mental institutions, and we don't want terrorists in our country. We don't want it. We're going to be paying a price for a long time. We have to get them out. We have to get them out. They poisoned our country, the people who launched this invasion, because it really is an invasion. We believe those people belong in jail. Something has to happen. When they say conservative or liberal or Democrat or Republican or independent, it's really where people have common sense. It's not even conservative. It's just common sense. You want to have borders. You want to have voter ID. You want to have these things. And it's just, Look, there's two reasons this could be happening. The list that I read, and there's so many more, but the list that I read, there's two reasons. They're stupid, which they're not, because they're great at cheating at elections. They're not stupid, they're vicious. No, anybody that cheats like that can't be stupid. But they're either stupid or they hate our country. And it has to be they hate our country, because who would allow this invasion of our country to take place? Despite 2.5 years of working and all of the things we did, I mean, to get this stuff in place, and then they just walk away from it. We worked 2.5 years to get it. We had to negotiate with Mexico and stay in Mexico. We had to, that was another deal. I think I pulled another tariff one on that one too. We're going to charge you so much. But they were great, and they understand it too. They really understand it. And I came up with the name Caravan because we had caravans of 15, 20,000 people pouring in. I'll tell you what, we had it stopped pretty early. But now if you look at these caravans, these are massive, massive caravans, and they have no idea who these people are coming into our country. They're walking in unabated. There's nothing, nobody's asking them about health. Or took in $28 billion for the farmers. I gave them checks. We split it around. Everybody got, because what China did to the farmers was incredible. And we brought many businesses back from China because of what I did with the taxes and tariffs. It gave an incentive for them to come back. And no other president has ever done anything like it. And no other president. I took in hundreds of billions, think of that, billions, not millions, billions of dollars, took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Not one other president took in 10 cents, not 10 cents. They never had the courage to talk 10 cents. And I got along great with President Xi, but he understood that we understood what the game was. And then when COVID came, I didn't get along because I said that was too much to bear. That was just too much what they did with the Wuhan lab. It came out of the Wuhan lab, and I said that for a long time. It came right out of the Wuhan lab. We'll crack down hard on violent crime, investigate radical left-wing prosecutors. These are radical left-wing prosecutors who just are absolutely horrible, horrible people. And if necessary, use federal assets in Democrat-run cities to restore law and order. The Democrats are supposed to do that. You have to get their permission, in theory, to go in. Next time, it's one thing I would do different. I did it for a reason. I wanted to show how bad they would be, and they were just so bad. Seattle, they took over Seattle. Minneapolis, look at that. How about they took over the police station? And then ultimately, I said, I don't care, we're sending in the National Guard. We sent it in. But you're supposed to wait for the governor or the mayors to ask for approval, and I wouldn't wait very long, I will tell you that. I did it the right way. The one thing that I have shown how bad they are and how dangerous they are, because they would never call. They could have a city or state taken over and they would not call for military help. But we came into, as an example, Minneapolis. We remember that 7 days it was going, and then you have CNN saying, not much is happening. And the reporter behind him, the whole city's burning down. Do you ever see that? We're here. There's been some minor skirmishes, not bad. Behind him, the entire city is like in flames. So I'll support a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. It's time. And only a non-politician would do that. A lifetime ban on lobbying by former members of Congress, because I see the things that are happening. And also cabinet members. And a ban on members of Congress getting rich by trading stocks with insider information, like Nancy Pelosi and her husband. We will keep America out of foolish foreign wars, just as I did as Commander-in-Chief, and I will restore it's called peace through strength. By the way, everyone thought when I ran, they said, this guy's going to be in world, remember Crooked Hillary? He's going to cause a war in his first week in office, because they think that's my personality type. It's actually the opposite. My personality kept us out of war. And I told you before, would have never happened with Russia, would have never gone in, Putin would have never, ever gone in. And even now, I could solve that in 24 hours. It's so horrible what happened. Those cities are demolished now. The people, I'll bet you have millions. It could be millions of people. How can you, they bomb a city to the ground. These big buildings come tumbling down. They say 2 people were injured. Not 2 people. They lie. They lie. But if I were president, you would have zero chance that war would have happened. We will use every tool at our disposal, we'll give to Steve, to defend election integrity, and we will dismantle the illegal censorship regime and bring back free speech to America. And as they say in New Hampshire, live free or die. That's pretty good, right? Live free or die. I look forward to returning many times. I'll be here many times. I'll be with you. I like it here, first of all. I guess if I didn't, maybe I wouldn't be back so much, but I love the people here, the great spirit, the incredible people. Thank you. Who said that? Stand up. How nice is this woman? Thank you very much. That's very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. 1 year from now, we will win the New Hampshire primary, and then with the help of the good people of this state, I love the people, we are going to take back our country, and we'll take back the White House, and we're going to straighten out the United States of America. Okay? And God bless you all. Now I am going to be reintroducing Chairman Stepanek, who is going to do a very important thing. He's going to make an announcement, and the announcement is who is going to be the next New Hampshire GOP chair. So whoever that is going to be, I'm going to immediately start treating him very nicely, because he'll have a big impact on the election. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Steve, you take over. Thank you very much.